Wrong. I shouldn't be doing this. Wrong indeed. Why am I not doing the bench press to grow my chest? There are several reasons. Number one reason is shoulder impingement and the inability to actually engage the chest in the contraction part, on top of being very strong at this point in my career. So this video will be all about when is the bench press a viable option for you to grow the chest and when should you probably skip it. Okay, so one of the things I mentioned is the natural motion of the chest. The chest wants to be able to contract at the top. There's a natural way that the chest likes to move. But however, if you do the bench press, this is a bar that obviously you cannot bend. So you're going down. This is pretty good here, but the moment you go up, there's nothing here. There's only tension on the elbows, the triceps, and you can't really contract the chest here. So the only usable range of motion is pretty much down here, like right here basically. And that is a very short range of motion. The problem is that there's quite a large risk of injury when you use that range of motion and you're getting very strong. Near the bottom, there's a lot of tension, not only on the chest, but also the shoulders and the tendons and ligaments right there, which is why a lot of people have problems with their shoulders when bench pressing. And pretty much all the pec tears in the history of bodybuilding happen on the bench press. Why? Because they go so heavy. When they go down, sometimes when they go so heavy, they go down quicker and to get the weight back up. But that tension right when the bar is at the bottom, the tension is so exaggeratedly high that the chest simply can pop, which happened to a lot of people in the past. And that is the greatest nightmare for anybody who wants to work on their physique, is to create not only an imbalance in their physique, but a forever weakness in that pec and a forever, recovery phase you're in basically, to never let that happen again. So the bench press as a beginner could be fine, because when you're a beginner, you pretty much grow off anything and you're still honestly pretty weak. When you look at my videos back in the day, I grew quite a big chest doing only the bench press and like the incline bench press and some dumbbell flies, for example, the old school Arnold Schwarzenegger style. Not to mention he himself has an enormous chest. But I'm just saying, once you move from beginner to intermediate to advanced, you're getting stronger, and strength equals more risk on every exercise, which is why the bench press in that case is not the optimal movement for growing the chest. Now, if you still want to do the bench press, which I still do to this day, there is still of course an option. I'm not saying the bench press sucks in general. It still is an amazing movement, but one of the biggest disadvantages I didn't mention yet is that you cannot train alone and go to failure on the bench press, because you need a spotter to save yourself from that heavy weight. The solution to this is of course the Smith machine, which I'm sitting on right now. So you can do in the Smith machine the regular bench press, the incline bench press, and still save yourself even when you go to complete failure, because as all of you guys know, you can simply do the bench press. It's the exact same movement, stuck in a plane motion up and down, so you can't really mess up with anything. If you unrack it, if it's too heavy, it just goes straight down. And once you go to failure, for example here, you can't go anymore, you simply rack it and then you're saved. So this is a great alternative if you still want to do the regular bench press and still be safe, because that's the number one thing, guys. Either you're going to go too heavy on the bench press and tear a pec, for example, if you're way too strong and your form is off, or you don't have a spotter and it's still going to be very unsafe. So you might as well do the Smith machine bench press if you really want to do the bench press. But in all honesty, there are still better movements to do to optimize chest growth. The way I'm talking about this might be a little boring, but it is the truth. If you want a bigger chest, the next movement is one you should definitely do. You thought I was gonna go to a chest press, didn't you? No, the next best thing from the bench press is going to be the dumbbell press. Just as old school as a bench press. So this, in my opinion, is one of the best chest builders in the universe. There's still one thing missing, however, the contraction part, but at least the converging pattern, the chest wants to go inwards, that is still happening, but there's no peak contraction. However, it's still an amazing movement. Let's just see how it's gonna go. So here, you can always save yourself by simply dropping the dumbbells, obviously, but as you can see, you're going outwards as you're going down. Here, there's a good stretch on the chest, and when you go up, you go inwards here, and here there's at least a better contraction compared to the bench press. So what you wanna do is go down and go up. But here, what I'm doing right now, that is a mistake. You don't want to have locked out elbows because now there's no tension. How do you fix this? Again, go to the stretch right here and go straight back. So here you have kind of like 75% of the range of motion. You still get a very good stretch, a proper contraction, not the max, but it's still going to be good enough for you to get a very, very good stimulus in the chest. And as I mentioned, if you're gonna fail, simply... Now, of course, we had to talk about the regular chest press in this video, as it's kind of the most easy, but at the same time most advanced step in building your chest. You start with the bench press, which is only the stretch part, but it's kind of rudimentary. Then the dumbbell press, where you do get kind of a better conversion pattern, but still no peak contraction, to the chest press, which has both the stretch right here, so a very good stretch, but also here, as you can see, a peak contraction. The chest press is still pushing me backwards, so it forces me to really stretch it here, maximally contract it right here, and that gives an enormous pump at the end of this exercise. But the most important part here is that it's ultra safe. This incredible Gym 80 machine, you can save yourself just like this, and you're saved, and you can stop. So there's no overlapping risk or fatigue anywhere but in the chest. However, this is a stack weighted machine. Some gyms, they have a chest press with a stack weight, but it's too light. Not this one, because I custom made it, but let me show you another option, which is a free weight chest press like this. Always use a towel, guys, that's hygienic. But with a free weight chest press, you can put on as much weight as you want, just like on a bench press, so it kind of feels the same in your mind. And simply, you also have this way to get nicely in position. Simply do the press. Also here, a very nice stretch and a very nice contraction. That is the most important difference between a chest press and a bench press. They both are called a press, but they work in drastically different ways. Now, some people might already know all of this information, obviously, but it's always important to know that you cannot really directly compare the two, as in different parts in your bodybuilding career or just getting more muscular in general, you're going to use each exercise for their separate phase. So as a beginner, bench press is totally fine. I grew my chest with it quite a lot myself. But as a more advanced person, you get stronger, more injury risk prone. You do feel the joints here and there already. So then you want to move to movements that allow your chest and your other muscles to move in a natural way they are designed to. And a chest press accomplishes that goal perfectly. And then the age-old question is, Wesley, how much do you bench? Well, of course, as a young guy in the gym, me and my brother used to train chest. We would wait half an hour. If the bench press was occupied, we would wait half an hour to 45 minutes until it was free, only for us to test our 1 rep max. And of course, throughout the years, it gets stronger and stronger. And my maximum weight here ever was 200 kilos, which is what I did, which is what my dad, there used to be like this story in the gym, and from my dad himself as well, that he was the only one who was able to do 200 kilos in the whole gym. So it was my life goal at that moment to at least match his strength. And ever since then, I actually did that, and from then I kind of was like, okay, this felt like a wall falling down on me. I can't even comprehend how heavy it feels. It got up somehow, but that's when I realized also this is so dangerous and risky for me. I'm gonna move on to better, more efficient, more safe movements to start growing more in the bodybuilding scene without getting injured and ending my career shortly, because that's not what we want, guys. We want to be able to do this sport late into our 60s, 70s maybe, without any muscle tear. So yeah, maximum weight was 200 kilos, and never again though. And guys, super exciting news. I'm super happy to announce my Able, the Dutch Oak collection is out now on